issue really has been that if you see the top 10 NGOs in the country, for example, you see very few women who have either founded or led them. The other sort of pet peeve I have is that a lot of them are also from the corporate sector. The number of women who lead the big organizations in the country is rather limited. And I think a lot of that has partly to do with the funding challenges that women generally face. And it's partly to do, I think, with I would call a sense of not being able to, or being a little worried or anxious about building very large organizations that women have.
What's fundamentally different is that civil society organizations that push for women's rights are questioning power relations. They question power relations at the level of the government, at the level of family, society, business, economic structures. So organizations that go out to question power relations in any frame, whether it's in women's rights or a citizenship right frame or any frame, are less likely to get funded, because the financial resources rest with those who hold the power. Women, depending on their location, experience the universal and the particular very, very differently. So it's difficult to have a very broad and generalized conversation around what is women's leadership. The shift we need to make, that we're always stuck in this thing in the quote unquote impact sector of making shifts at the individual empowerment level, right? And is that really where we should be looking, when what leads to the inequality is deeply structural? What women experience in terms of oppression, increased rates of violence, what drives that violence, what leads to their exclusion, is many factors that are far beyond what they can control within their immediate environment. It's the decisions that are getting made at the structures of power, which why we need to see women at those levels of leadership, to be able to shift those structural issues, but at the same time recognizing that that's insufficient, that we really also need to be able to figure out ways in which the funding that flows to the organizations that are working at the grassroots, the civil society organizations, has to be reimagined and rethought. Donors have to use their power to transform the politics of this space. And when I say politics, I am not talking about partisan politics, but politics as who holds the power and how does the power need to shift. And so those questions that until and unless donors really ask themselves these questions and transform their own system, influence their peers, and influence sort of the power structures within the donor community, a lot of these things are very difficult to shift.
Women are the most productive, the most active in driving the economy. When you hear so many things from the government side, that is social stock exchanges going on where all the philanthropy and charity organization and everybody is coming in. MSME is declaring a fund, and they talk that fund of fund, we are going to invest in it. That is second. The third is the agriculture sector. We are going to infuse capital in agriculture sector, and they are talking about that. And in all these three, I never saw a debate of women. When we started bank, our women were saying that, everybody was saying that, what are these women going to do? They do not know to count. They do not know to read and write. But today we have actually more than 170 crore of capital, there is no outside support, no equity investor, it's all women saving, women capital and women credit. And women have that.
To raise money is difficult for everybody in general, right? We talk about 1 out of 10 businesses get funded, et cetera, and it becomes exponentially more difficult if you're a woman founder to go out and raise that capital. If your prime objective is the business you're doing or the impact you want to have with the business, so what if you have to be the person who has to go be something in a boardroom to wear the pants? go back and put on a dress and do what you want to do. We are very inclusive in how we pitch. We talk about us. We talk about togetherness. We talk about a shared purpose, a shared vision, a shared mission as we do things, as opposed to I, me, mine. And that's actually powerful. The funding universe is a jungle. It's based on themes, it's based on size, it's based on location, right? There'll be funds that only fund, agri in Africa. And if you're not an agri in Africa business, you can't do anything about it, right? So first you have to understand that universe is hard. The second part of the hard, funding part is also understanding how you fit in to the continuum, right? Are you an early stage, a late stage? Are you a profitable and non-profitable? Are you out of an incubator or not? The actionable steps are the same if you're a woman or not. You're going, it's like an elephant. You got to eat it one piece at a time, as they say, right? One bite at a time. You're going to have to figure out what is the universe that you're working, what does the jungle look like of money, and where are you in that jungle, and what is it that you want to do? Push, and find a way to that capital. The capital is there. You have to build the case, and you have to build the case that is recognizable and understandable by somebody on the other side, in the context that they live in the universe that they live in, and in the capital flows that they have.